Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Do you believe that the result of this draft can make the Saints a Super Bowl contender in 2022?
Well, it probably depends on what position they take, but yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple of pieces they need, and if they get those, they can certainly contend. I mean, anyone that watched them last season knows how close they were to making the playoffs. If one or two things had gone their way, they would have been a playoff team, and who knows where they would have gone from there. But yeah, I believe that, and I think the Saints believe that as well.
Okay, so if I asked you rank their positions of need, we kind of all know what those positions are, but for you, rank them. Where do you start?
I absolutely start at receiver. I don't know if the team feels that way. It'll be interesting to see if they do, because I think if they don't feel that way, there might be a lot of upset fans on Thursday. But I think it starts at receiver. I think after that, it's offensive tackle. Maybe safety after that. But then, there's kind of the big question, well, how do you see the quarterback need? Do you see it as a need right now, or do you see it as a need down the road? So I don't really know where you put quarterback. I think, Jameis Winston showed that they can certainly have success with him. So I don't look at it as, they have to draft a quarterback this year. But if you're looking at how the team looks down the road, even within a year or two, then, maybe quarterback is a top need. I don't know. It certainly makes for a really interesting draft.
Do you think they will draft a quarterback at some point in this draft?
I think if they don't draft a quarterback by the second round, they're not going to. Huh. I think that, just be like, they just drafted Ian Book last year. So unless they're just totally giving up on him as a developmental prospect, to me, it'd be kind of weird if you're adding like a guy in round 4, 5, 6. That would be kind of odd to me.
What about, because I've seen, take a mock draft for what it is, right? But I have seen some say like Sam Howell in round 3 or Carson Strong in round 3, guys that maybe feel like they have a higher ceiling than Ian Book. Would that make sense?
Right, but that's the weird thing about this draft class. I've seen people say Sam Howell could go in round 1.
It's so wild.
So I've actually,
Kat. Some respectable human mocked Sam Howell to the Saints in round 1.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I saw that yesterday.
Oh my God!
So I just did a piece that I'm about to tweet out in a little bit. I just got home since I've been driving to New Orleans, and I just threw Sam Howell in there because I'm like, well, these are probably the guys that would go first or second round. I think generally you see Strong third round or later. But that's the thing. These teams get crazy, and they overdraft quarterbacks, and then you get a team coming out of nowhere, like zipping up to the first round to draft some quarterback that everyone thought would go later. So, you laugh, but then you get a team maybe crazy enough to do it. It's kind of nuts. Like, I think quarterbacks are going to go higher than people are mocking them to teams, because teams always do that.
She's on Twitter at @_Terrell. You'll give her a follow. You can read her stuff at The Athletic. You had a really good feature, tip of the cap, on Terron Armstead at the end of his time in New Orleans. How do you feel about the Saints' opportunity to maybe replicate that? If they don't find that starter at left tackle in round 1, could they find the proverbial Terron Armstead somewhere else in this draft? Is that something the Saints, as a franchise, would even pursue in this draft?
I think they would try to. I mean, I'm not an expert on the middle round tackles this year, even though, I've definitely done my research into them. But I think with the Saints, they've had a lot more success with these middle rounds with their offensive linemen than they have with their, top or their first round guys. which is kind of interesting. They really haven't taken many tackles in the first round. I remember very vividly when they took on Pete, and everyone in the draft room that day was saying, "What are they doing?" Yeah. And Pete has become a kind of polarizing figure among the fans because he was drafted to be the tackle of the future, and he ended up moving to guard. Obviously, Ramczyk had a ton of success, even though it was funny. I was doing some past draft recaps this year, and I looked at the Ramczyk grade, and someone gave him a C, which shows how draft grades are. But I think the team loves the middle round offensive linemen, which makes it ironic that I continually push them picking a tackle in the first round. But I just keep saying, I could see them doing that.
But it does make a lot of sense, right? Because if that player is there and it's such a position of need, you take it, whether that's Trevor Penning or if they move up. We all know that this franchise moves up. They trade up. They don't trade back. I don't know if you have a feeling or if you've talked to anyone within the organization to have a sense of if that's a possibility this year with their 2 first-round picks, if they might be looking to move up in round 1, maybe to take a tackle.
I do wonder that because a couple of local reporters just talked to Sean Payton at the Zurich Classic last week, and Sean talks to these guys a lot, even though he says, he's removed from it and all of that. He knows what's going on.
Right.
And he knows how they think. And he was saying, well, generally teams do that to take a quarterback. Now, I don't think he knows their draft plan, but him saying that combined with him saying, I don't think you have to take a wide receiver in the first round. Well, I mean, that could just be his viewpoint because the Saints haven't taken a wide receiver in the first round 2014. But it did kind of get the gears in my brain, moving because Peyton knows how they think. So I'm kind of preparing myself for them not to take a receiver and do something else, whether that's move up for a quarterback or take some position that surprises people and throws the whole fan base into an uproar, like the tackle or safety or something.
Do you believe or do you know if there's going to be any difference in approach with Dennis Allen in there instead of Sean Payton? Does that functionally change the way they operate on draft day or what their focus would be?
I think it probably has changed their focus in free agency. Part of that's dictated by the salary cap, but Dennis Allen has said a lot just over the course of this offseason that they want to focus on the DeMario Davis type signings in free agency versus, the round 1 splash type Jarvis Byrd signings. He didn't say Jarvis Byrd, but,
right.
Signings like that. That's what he meant. And, that kind of changes the draft a little bit because they go into the draft and they haven't filled all of their starting needs in free agency. Now, they could, already have in mind guys they want to sign but aren't signing until after the draft because of the compensatory pick formula, whether that be a wide receiver or a safety, the 2 biggest needs. But, I think it probably does change the approach. Now, how it changes the draft approach, I don't know. I don't think too much because I feel like it's kind of such a team effort with Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis and the coach, and maybe a little less aggressive, but I feel like the front office wants to stay aggressive. They're going to stay aggressive regardless of who the coach is.
She is Kat Terrell. Follow her on Twitter at @Kat_Terrell. Read her stuff there at The Athletic. If I let you make realistic now, I'll let you make the 16th and 19th picks, which way are you going?
I keep going with the tackle wide receiver combination. I mean, I know it's kind of boring, but because I'm drafting for need, but it makes sense to me. I think there could be a tackle left at that point, or maybe they surprise people and move up to get their last tackle of the future. A lot of those tackles are going to go top 15 and be a little out of their reach, except maybe Penning, but maybe they move up to get a guy like Charles Cross. I don't know, but I've kind of stuck to those 2 positions for a while now.
And I don't know, about 55 hours or so from now, we'll have those answers. Looking forward to it. Kat Terrell, thanks as always. Go read her stuff. Follow her on Twitter. We'll visit again soon.
Well, I'm looking forward to it as well. It'll be a great week.
All right, Cap, be well. Thank you. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.